All right, yeah, welcome to VTR and Radio Network, Veteran Voices, new edition, because we have actually had several awesome individuals come together. And by doing so, we have spawned a new program that we're going to be running every single week. And that program is the Voices of the Spouses. We have two very special women in this box tonight on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, across the nation. Two very special people, and they mean so much to me, especially one of them for sure, and that's my wife, being a veteran spouse herself. Uh, may have some more guests pop in here in a few, but for right now, it will just be us hanging out and letting these women talk about the struggle, talk about the love for that person who goes through freaking hell and how they deal with it, and these stories need to be heard. We talk about the veteran voices need to be heard, but the wives' voices need to be heard as well. They really do. And this has given me an opportunity to open the door for the spouses of veterans to really just put everything on the table in a very safe place. And we're going to rock it out. We got Miss Marilyn here and my wife, Megan. And I will reiterate myself that any questions that you may have for anyone in this particular live stream, send them to YouTube. That way I can assess and either approve or negate that question, because this is a safe place. I've created a safe place with the type of stream this is, and I want to keep it that way. So if there are any questions for the spouses as we move forward, just don't get frustrated if I don't answer you immediately, because the floor is theirs, and that's the way it needs to be. But even moving forward, as we bring more and more spouses in, some of these stories are hard to tell, and these are women. They do get emotional. They're an emotional creature. And all I ask is that you respect that. My mods that are on TikTok, please do your job. My mods on YouTube, please do your job. Because granted, they can't see what's being said. I don't appreciate the negativity, because this is all positivity. Thank you, Becca. All right, let's do this. First, I want you to both introduce yourselves, who you are, who your husband is or was, because we do have spouses that their husbands have left us due to any type of reason. And if you don't feel comfortable talking about that, um, that's okay. And always remember, it's okay to not be okay. It is okay to not be okay, because we have your six. So we'll start with Miss Marilyn.
Hi, my name is Marilyn Milligan. I was married 27 years to an Air Force veteran, um, Robert James Milligan. He is deceased as of 9/28/2010. We were married, like I said, 27 years. Very good time. You want me to continue?
I mean, that's all you've got to say. That's fine. I
That's,
mean,
that's it for
Megan.
And I'm Megan Scher. I'm married to Steven for 5 years. He was in the Army.
That's all you got to say about your husband? I'm just fake.
Well, you want me to continue? He gets on my nerves sometimes. Is that what you want me to say?
I reckon.
No, I'm just picking.
No, but on a serious note, Miss Marilyn and my beautiful wife. Starting with Miss Marilyn, can you describe to me the male side of the veteran, um, what it is, what it's like to deal with our silence.
What it's like to deal with your side, the male side?
No, the silence, like the not
Okay.
wanting to open up, not want to talk about things.
Yeah. I would try to get my husband to talk. Sometimes he would just be off in the chair or on the floor, wherever he was at, just kind of like looking just nowhere, just blank stare. Sometimes I knew not to say anything. Other times I would just get concerned and I would say, "Is there something you want to talk about?" No, I'm fine. The guys are always fine. They're not fine, but they're always fine, according to them, because they are the soldiers, they're the airmen, um, and they're tough, they think. According to us wives, they're not so tough. Um, it's hard. It's really hard as a wife to see them not open up. But as a wife, you just have to respect that and just go off and do your own thing. You know, do whatever. I always worried when I was at work about what was going to happen. Um, Nothing ever did during the first few years. Um, we did have a good marriage, despite the silence. And yeah, it's hard. And like I said, if I had him out in a crowd, he was the jokester, always joking, wanting just to be kind of like a Robin Williams. That's yeah, yeah, a Robin Williams. That describes him. Always wanting to play jokes on people. Always, yeah, he played enough on me. But then there were those times couldn't get through to him. The drinking started. Not bad. Um, I mean, it wasn't every night. It wasn't to where he'd get drunk. He was never into drugs or anything like that. But what I had trouble with was the silence. But as a nurse, as a psych nurse, as an ICU nurse, I knew. And just as a military wife, don't bother them. Let them be in their own little head for a while. That's the best advice I can give right now.
Babe, what about you?
What's your question?
Well, you live with me, and I think this is a great place for both husband and wives to come together and kind of learn about each other in an open setting with outside input. Not necessarily counseling, but just to kind of get everybody's perspective on everything as far as veteran households are concerned. And the question was like, and you know me all too well. You know me a long time, and some days I space out and I go silent, and you've learned the look. That's like you learned the look the other day whenever I was on that live. So how do you deal with the silence?
Mm, I don't know. A lot of times I just let you be, or sometimes I get angry and, fuss at you. Why don't you talk? Not particularly about that situation over, what you dealt with, but just in general, like, you don't open up about anything. I got or say something, and then I'm constantly saying, "Oh, why don't you have anything to say?" And I don't know. I just kind of got to the point where I'm used to it. Um, Leave it alone. I've just said before, and I'll say it again. I'm here if you want to talk about something, and no judgment. I won't look at you any differently.
In other words, she's a damn good woman.
She,
But as most women are, especially in situations like this, um, gratefully there's been no incidents within our household, um, as far as abuse on the physical or anything like that. Um, in some cases, that's not the case,
hmm.
and I think it's because I'm scared my wife will knock me the crap out. But anyways, no, she does hit pretty hard. But either way, you know, in your case, Marilyn, did your husband ever just come to you and sit down and just let it all out?
A little, a little. He never let everything out. I knew there were a lot of things that he couldn't let out, and that was okay because I knew that. As a nurse, I can't tell him everything, so I respected that decision. Um, I was proud of him, extremely, extremely proud of him. I loved, I loved walking next to him with that uniform on, but it just wasn't the uniform. It was the guy with the heart, because he did have a really, really big heart. He he treated me like he's so good, but in knowing other military spouses that they had or the husband had PTSD or something, um, that wasn't the case. I've known some, as we talked last night. One one wife in particular, I know that she got knocked down the stairs, lost the baby, just got in his head, couldn't function. Another one just beat his wife. He didn't even realize that he had done that. He just had a moment. He had a flashback. People don't understand what those flashbacks are like. They're bad. The triggers are bad. Anything can trigger. So, as a wife, you really have to be careful what you say, um, careful what you do. The other thing my husband didn't like was anybody behind him. He wanted people, where he could see them, nobody behind him. And I understood that. So when we go in a restaurant, you know, I was the one that got that other chair. So, but it was okay. I understood. And I'll tell you, the wives really have to understand and know their husband. Because if they don't, that marriage is not going to work. There's a lot of divorces with military, too many. Um, as military spouses, get told all kinds of things. We're lazy. Oh, you're not representing your husband. Um, that outfit looks horrible on you. You got too much makeup on. I don't like that. Just nitpicking at anything to hurt us. And I've come to realize that, it's probably just jealousy. And I don't even, it doesn't make me mad anymore. It doesn't hurt me. It's like, oh, well, I go on.
So, to break this into perspective, we as men, husbands, providers, protectors, soldiers who are instilled that mindset to protect and defend not just the Constitution of the United States of America, but our families, our friends, our neighbors, our communities. I think the hardest part for us is to place a burden on someone we care about that we won't want to place on another human being. Something that we carry, something that we've seen, that we've had to do. Not scared, not for fear of judgment, because any wife that's married or a girlfriend that knows that their loved one has deployed and he has a duty to do, that there's a possibility that some things might happen that are distasteful. And you as women, we don't look at you any less. Well, some men don't look at you any less than we are, but we do know that you are emotional creatures and that anxiety does run high. I've learned a lot about anxiety with my wife, and I still don't understand it all, but I'm learning. But even when told these things, it makes me even more reluctant to drop a bombshell on her head, and I never actually told my wife anything. She found out because she read my RHA report for my PTSD. And I'm gonna ask her because I still haven't asked her since she read it. Because I really didn't want to hear the answer, I guess. But babe, when you read my report, being I never told it to you, what was your first thought?
Um, it's pretty sick. Um, kind of justified me leaving things alone at times. Um, I don't want to put too much of our business out there because I just feel like it's not everybody's. But it made a certain accusation made me even more furious. Um, I don't know. It just kind of made me look at things a little bit different. I I know quite a bit about you, and I've said certain things. Like no wonder I am talking. Please be quiet. Um, I've said certain things. Like no wonder you ended up there, and it kind of made me think even more. Like I know that's not an excuse, but it's just kind of like knowing what you grew up with, and then to see and read that, and then know that that's what you dealt with, and um, it may, people always tell me, "Oh, I'm proud of Steven. I'm proud of Steven," and I'm just like, "They're proud is a 5-letter word. Maybe I spelled it wrong, and it's too small of a word to just say I'm proud of you." Um, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, but by reading that, and I know, I'm gonna ask Marilyn kind of the same question in a different context, but by reading that, can you understand from a woman's perspective, from a wife's perspective, from someone who I want to live the rest of my life with, that how hard that would be for me to drop that on you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. In fact, he never told anybody. No one at all. I did find some antidepressants, actually. Didn't know anything about them. Found some anxiety medicine. Did nothing about it. Yeah, so all that was hidden. And I think it was just to protect me. In fact, I'm positive that it was.
So you don't hate him for it, of course not.
I don't hate him at all.
Right.
No.
I'm pretty sure he's looking down on us smiling right now. Pretty sure of it.
I think so.
But you know, my wife has our marriage has had its ups and downs, just like any marriage would.
Mhm.
A lot of it caused by stupidity, a lot of it caused by stuff we hold back and let build up until it just blows. And with the veteran mind state, I faced the 22 statistic, and my wife has literally, I literally went outside and crawled in my children's fucking playhouse with her pistol in my hand, and she came outside and was the one that pulled it out of my hand. And even without knowing the stories, just thinking it was about an argument or a disagreement or whatever, But 4 years later, 'cause this happened about 4 years ago. 4 years later, now that she has, read my file and learned a lot more about me than she thought she ever would know. Even as her husband, I still question myself at times as to how she looks at me, because she does know, and I was trying to protect her from that, you know. And one thing I can say about it, she never fails to let me know she's there, just like yesterday, and that, regardless of how good I say I am, she knows I'm not, and that's okay. Like I say, it's okay not to be okay.
It's okay to not be okay, but you can't stay there too long.
Right.
Um, for one, I don't look at you any differently. Just to clear that.
Even as a husband, just to touch on what Marilyn was saying a minute ago, Megan used to wonder why in like Walmart I would wander off by myself away from groups or crowds. And, eventually I got to the point where I could break it down to her like, look, if I can't protect my family while I'm amongst you. And, part of it's got to do with, 12 years in the penitentiary. Crowds mean riots, crowds mean death. There's just anxiety just runs straight to the roof, and my main concern is the protection of my wife and my children. And we were living in Charlotte, and there was so much death happening. People getting shot in Walmart parking lots over parking spaces and crap. I mean, I would never go, and she'll tell you, I'd never go anywhere without my sidearm, because I'm not going to let that happen to my family, and, just even, I had an episode a couple weeks ago. I had a head cold, and was getting sick, and my 2-year-old decided she wanted to play with me or whatever while I was asleep, and when I didn't respond, she slapped me in the ear, almost hard enough to rupture my eardrum, and it set my tinnitus off so bad that even when my wife was speaking to me, it sounded like a cannon going off in my face. And I'm sure she remembers that night because I locked myself in the bathroom for almost 3.5 hours. And then when the battles asked me the next day, why didn't you reach out? I said, well, I couldn't. And I literally couldn't because everything, it just constant boom, 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 and these are some of the things we deal with. And these wives need to know that at times this is what we're going through, whether it's someone slamming a car door too hard or, a car backfires or anything, it could set that. You're right down the rabbit hole. I mean, you hear veterans talk about the rabbit hole all the time. You might just see something in public, in a public setting, like a Bass Pro Shop or whatever, and it just sends you right there. And it's oftentimes it's not me ignoring my wife. I'm just so caught up in the battle that's going on inside my head that nothing else is relevant at the time but getting out of there, or at least making an attempt to. And when we go down that even that night when Everly slapped my ear, I was to the point where I was ready to punch my ticket just to stop the noise, just to stop it, because it was bad. I was sitting in there just mumbling the names of my staff sergeant and my corporal and all my battles that were there that I literally watched get blown the fuck away, and until like I said, this is good as spouses for us to do this, for the men and the women to do this, to gain a better understanding of the broken person that we both are. We weren't married when I deployed. I came home and we got married and I brought all this shit, this baggage straight into it. I'm grateful that we weren't married when I was deployed, because she would not be the same person she is right now. And then that's just from talking to other military wives and just from the outside looking in. She would not be the same person. I say it all the time. We go in as boys and we come out broken. And there's nothing that really can fix that. Love, compassion, any of that stuff. Nothing can really fix that. Because love is from the heart. It's not in the mind. And what your eyes see goes to your mind. It don't go to your heart. And people don't think about it that way, and they apply all these negative attributes, not saying that either of you have done so, but they apply all these negative attributes to the personality or character of an individual, not knowing the struggle that's going on up here. The struggle ain't down here. I love my wife to death. Like, there's nothing in the world that nobody can argue me down on that. Like, there's just nothing. I may not look like the happiest man in the world, but I'm the happiest man in the world. And the reason I can't look like the happiest man in the world is because what's going on up here.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing goes for the wives. They could be the most happiest person in the world, but it's hard to be happy when your husband's overseas facing death every day. It's really hard. I know it's hard. And that broke my heart, what Cassie showed me yesterday. That they gave her a pamphlet for 50 days to write a word every day about you love this person because of this.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't want it to happen to nobody, but I got to voice it. What happens on day 6 when he gets taken, or day 19 when he gets taken? What are you writing the book on that day? You know, and no deployment is 50 days long.
Uh-uh.
There's not one. The only ones that are that long are the ones that get cut short.
Mhm.
And that's not fair to you as a spouse, to her as a spouse, to my wife as a spouse. If I was still in and I was called up for deployment, man, I couldn't tell you what I'd do to somebody who gave her a book like that.
Yeah.
That really, really frustrates me that the soldier's backbone is given something like that.
Yeah.
It really frustrates me. And I think that with enough voices in the mix, we can make a change to that.
That book is worthless.
Mhm.
I probably would have given that book back, but that's just me. Um, and being okay, just like Kashi, she has 4 kids, a nonprofit, running the house, running the kids to and from school. This is while he's still home. She's told that she's lazy. Oh, get a job. She dances. She's told, oh, what a way to represent your husband. What a way to represent the military wives. She is fully dressed in a t shirt and jeans. She used to be in dance theater. She dances beautifully. In fact,
I
I'm
agree.
jealous. I'm jealous, but she dances beautifully. I love her to death. She, she's busy. She loves Jared so much. Right now, she's facing deployment. They just moved. I don't even know if she's got her house totally all emptied yet of the boxes. Then we had our event in July. Now we did 150 backpacks for homeless vets, gave those out. Now we're doing boxes of all kinds of things that the soldiers need over there, overseas. And you know what? Kashi assembles them by herself. Now, she doesn't do anything, does she? She sits on the floor and she puts everything in a box. Then she'll take them to the post office. But she doesn't do anything. It irritates me that we as wives get a bad rap. It really, does. Um, I it really just irritates the heck out of me, and it always probably will. And I support every single military wife out here. If they need to talk, I'm here. If the veterans need to talk, I'm here. If the active duty need to talk, I'm here. You know, but one thing that I've learned, don't ask that veteran what he's thinking. Just let them talk. And just say, I'm here if you need me to listen.
Mm-hmm.
think that's the problem. Excuse me. I really think that's the problem because I mean, she's not doing it to be seen. She's doing it the willingness of her heart, her love for her country, her love for our soldiers, and the question comes to mind that when a person throws that at a woman like yourself, at a woman like my wife, or a woman like Kashi, the question comes to mind is to return that question back at them. Well, what are you doing? Other than going to military balls and spending every dime that he's got while he's overseas. I mean, what are you doing?
Exactly.
What are you doing to help the homeless veterans? What are you doing to maintain the household? I'm not even going to go down the road of the degrading things that do happen.
Yeah.
But they do.
And I know that there are some military spouses out there. Thank God I don't know any. That will cheat on their husband while they're deployed. I know that. There's some husbands that will cheat. I know that. But you gotta have faith in your soldier. And you gotta have faith in your wife. That's one thing that it never even crossed my mind. Didn't even cross my mind. 27 years together. Didn't cross my mind. So but it does some other wives think, oh well, they're just over there playing. Really? I don't think so. I don't think so. And some husbands may think the same thing because we have more free time. People think. I work full time. I've been a nurse, an RN for 29 years. My husband was so very, very proud of that. And I wanted to make him proud. And I got with Kashi about 2.5, 3 years ago when she asked me to help her with this project. To help the wives, to help the husbands with transition. You guys don't get anything. Dropped off on plane. There you go. You guys don't get a transition period, which is very sad. So then, we, as a military wife, have to try and transition you. My dog's barking. There's somebody at the door.
It's either yours or ours.
I think it's mine.
It's hers.
Yeah, it's mine.
It's okay.
Yeah, we're all human after all. We have pets. We have children.
Yeah.
That's right. And one thing I remember that my husband used to do is he built like this barn thing. He had a television out there, he had a stereo out there, he had a recliner out there. There was a lot of times He spent the night out there. I didn't like it, but I never said anything because I knew those were the times not to say anything. But I also made sure that he was safe,
Right.
just like your wife did.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm good.
Well, I will say this, that I'm extremely proud of you for coming on here,
Thank you.
and for my wife for coming on here, because she usually doesn't do stuff like this.
She knew that I needed a partner. The two
But
M's are on here tonight.
it helps. I think it really helps, and this is only a preliminary of what's to come, because there's no judgment here. There's no naysayers. There's nothing but positivity and support. Might cry a little bit, but that's okay. And whoever said a grown man don't cry told a damn lie. You know,
No, it's okay to cry.
it is.
It is okay to cry.
But I'll say this: I really do see the mission in you.
I am on a mission.
I do. Well, it's not just the mission that's in your mind and the mission that you're physically on, but I see the mission in your eyes, especially when you talk about him. I definitely see it.
It would
I
be
definitely see it.
I think
And
proud.
yeah, my wife might tell me I don't talk about her, and I'm just talking crap about her. You know, I talk about my wife all the time.
You do,
Yeah.
and it's all good. It's all loving and good. Yes.
Yeah, and I may be a crappy person at showing it sometimes, and you know, as a man, it hurts me that I'm neglecting her in that, but then I don't know how to approach it because of, once again, we get right back to the road that I've traveled, and it's not just the military, but 12 years in the penitentiary was
Right.
not an easy ride, and
Yeah.
it gets tough at times to express an emotion that I knew most wives look for, and they know it's there because it was there before any of this stuff happened. But is it really still there?
Yeah.
Only time will tell. And I think that doing things like this, what we're doing right now with the Veteran Voices program, with the spousal voices of veterans program, I think it will open the door to kind of heal some of that brokenness. It'll never heal all of it.
No.
That'll never happen. But I think that it can heal a lot,
Mhm.
and it can save some marriages. It can save some lives. I don't know if the followers have been watching, but I've got a numbers scroll going across the bottom of the screen. And we talk about 22 a day all the time, which on average is not even 22, it's between 46 and 48 a day, and that's veterans. But we never talk about the 19 to 21 spouses and 8 to 10 military-related children that take their own lives due to the conditions brought upon them by the veteran or the deployment. That's 65 lives on average in our country a day.
Mhm.
people don't want to talk about those numbers. They don't even know about them because they don't ask about them because the children aren't thought about and the wives aren't talked about.
Mm-mm.
The veteran spouses aren't even mentioned until it's time to hand them a folded flag. And speaking of the folded flag, you know, I gave a folded flag to a veteran recently, not because of a death in the family. We did the Veteran Rescue Mission project in Morganton with that bathroom, and he didn't have a flag hanging from the front of his house. So we folded a flag, and when I presented it to him, there's a video on Facebook. I'm about to upload it to Battleborn. And it's a long one, you got to watch it. But the way we touched the veteran's heart and let him know that we were there. You know, when we folded that flag up military style, just like your honor team would, honor guard. And me and another gentleman, Jeremy Barker, not a veteran. He's a high school friend of mine. He runs a towel company down in Gastonia. He was there with me through the whole thing because he wanted to be a part of the mission. And when we presented that flag, I told Mr. Mace, and he was 73 years old, Vietnam vet. I told him, I said, Battle, I said, man, in most cases, you're given a flag like this in this manner because you've lost someone. I said, but even though me and you both wear the same color, the same patch, the same everything, it was a different time frame, different war, different campaign, whatever. You know, a lot of people fail to realize the term battle means a lot more than just battle buddy, the one guy right beside you. It means a lot more than that, because relationships are created when the lives of those that are around you are in your hands, and vice versa. And I said, you did lose family. It may not have been immediate family. And, you know, I couldn't think of a better way to present this project of us veterans coming together and citizens coming together to help you than by decorating it with this flag. And just to see the effect on that brother at that time, he was like, you're right. I did lose my brothers and sisters. I did lose a lot of my sanity, of my mental health, everything. But more so, I lost people that I'd grown close to. And when we hung that flag up, he stood up, he started to salute it. I was like, no, we're gonna do this the right way. And I hit him with the old drill instructor, a 10 hut, and present arms, and we did it. And it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. And, you know, I said all that to say this. Nobody respects the flag that we wear right there until they're handed a folded one. Then reality sets in. And anybody that signed that dotted line, whether you were non-com, com, NCO, whatever, it doesn't matter. You can get deployed at any time. Your MOS, you can be split up into something else that you didn't even know about.
Yeah.
Just to fill a void. So just because you sit behind a desk doesn't mean you can't deploy. You know, just because you're, you know, supply officer doesn't mean that you're not going to get put in the middle of a hot zone. And some of these wives, they say, well, my husband's sunshine, he'll never see combat. He's safe. That ain't necessarily true, because he sees combat every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and a lot of people also realize, and I'm gonna touch on this, and I want since you were in the psychology field, I want you to kind of comment on what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
Because the VA, due to the recent filings upon myself and some other individuals that are kind of high up, they're changing some of the rulings. Used to be you had to have everything service connected to gain a percentage, just to get medical health and, you know, everything else for the VA benefits. But now there's also service aggravated. And I'm gonna use my situation as an example, because my wife, she didn't go into detail, but she spoke of my childhood. I had one of the most horrible childhoods. I wouldn't wish it on nobody. And when you go from a verbal abuse, physical abuse childhood into a verbal abuse, physical abuse career, it dredges shit up, and it can mess with you mentally to where either you don't perform like you should, or you fall short on a task and somebody ends up losing their life. I mean, there's so many different aggravations. Like even being, in high school, I was a firefighter. And then I became a firefighter again when I got home. But you know, uh, even the firefighter aspect, the blood, the gore, bodies, the smells, and then you go into deployment. That's service aggravated. So sometimes it's not even. It could be a cake ride deployment, but things that happen within that employment, and I do say employment, no matter where you're TDY or station, things happen, and it can cause things to happen mentally and emotionally and psychologically, and then it becomes service aggravated. What do you think about that aspect of the way, not just about the coming home aspect, but just in general, as an effect on the individual?
Well, if you grew up in a childhood like you did, and like so many do, I mean, that's trauma right there. The other thing is if you've been thrown into a wall with your head or whatever with your head, you may have suffered a TBI that's never been discovered. Um, so that alone can set you up for who knows what. Then you go over there and just say it's a pretty cush, if there is such deployment. Um, then you see, God, you see a couple of your buddies get blown up because they hit an IED. That has really triggered, and it's really set off more trauma with you or the veteran or the soldier, whatever the case may be. Um, I think it's about time that the VA has done this because I know too many veterans that have suffered trying to get their 100%. And they, it's been years and years and years fighting to get that 100%. They'll get 10%, 20%, maybe for hearing. Even though they, and I assume that you all wear earplugs and things over there, are supposed to. Um, I know that my husband was, well, he did. But you still suffer hearing loss. It doesn't matter. Just if anybody is fired a weapon, which I have, you still hear that bang, which is loud.
Mm-hmm.
If you're hearing multiple, and I do mean multiple, just think what you're hearing is. And then just think about what that's doing to you. That may even sound like, oh, my head just went through that wall. because my dad or mom were mad at me. And then you're mad, and a lot of things can happen that's really
So,
not meant to happen.
yeah, so I want to apply that to the spousal side of things now. Not just saying the noises, because doors get slammed sometimes,
Mhm.
and things happen. Voices get raised, and it's a downhill spiral from that point.
I've heard doors slam. I've heard weapons go off. I didn't even know they were going off, but there they were. They're going off. Shouting, not at me. Never at me, but just shouting. Damn it. Well, stop. Damn it. Just make things stop. I want it to end. I just want things to stop. I understand that now. I totally get it now. I just want every military wife. No, look for the signs. Listen to your gut. If it feels wrong, probably is. And I do mean that. Do you want me to go on?
I was going to see if Megan had anything she wanted to add into that.
I don't. I'm just listening.
Like I said, we've been married 27 years. Good marriage. Yeah, I mean, we all have our ups and downs. Never went to bed mad. That's when he slept in bed. Wasn't in his little shed. Because he needed to get away from everything. And he would have his music playing really, really loud. I think that was just to get away from the voices or whatever was going on in his head. And you can probably speak to that.
Yeah, I use video games
Mm.
as an escape.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes so much to the fact that I neglect my wife.
Mm-hmm. Yep. My husband worked a lot.
I do that too.
Yep. Worked a lot.
And oftentimes she thinks I just stay gone just because I don't want to be home.
Mm.
But it's really not that.
Mm-mm.
It's been more so since I broke my neck and I've lost my health, my strength.
Mm.
I've always felt like the day I stopped is the day I'm done. And as the provider for my family, if I don't stop, we'll be good. But if I do stop, it's over with.
Mm.
I'm gonna lose everything again,
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I've said on my lives and my videos here recently, like, dude, I'm fucking tired. I've been doing this for so long, the past 6 years,
Mm-hmm.
trying to keep a unfoggy mind and keep pushing forward to find success in everything that I do, and I still see failure coming. I feel it coming, it's not like that I'm saying it's going to happen. It feels
like it. Mm.
it feels like it's going to happen.
Yep.
Because I've done nothing but fail my whole life. I feel like, regardless of the accomplishments that I've done in the military, making it out of the the penitentiary system, starting my own businesses, whatever. It seems like every time I get up, I get knocked back, 10 to 12 steps, just like yesterday. I mean,
Yeah.
it almost makes me question why I do it, because I'm just torturing myself at this point, and as a man first and foremost, and as a husband, the last thing I want to do is fail my wife and my family.
Right.
I don't want to be my dad. I want my kids to have everything I never had as a child, and that's to a fault at times, because now we're dealing with the repercussions of that. But at the end of the day, it's I'm always saying, continue the mission, continue the mission, continue the mission, and
Mhm.
that's why I'm reaching out now, not just to you or anybody else, just in general, for help. Not with my business, not with me the person, but the movement.
Mhm.
Because after doing it for so long by myself, I'm tired. 16, 18 hours a day. I mean, it breaks a person down,
Mhm.
and I only do it to keep this in check.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's not that I don't want to spend time with my family or do other things like that, but as soon as I go idle, it's here it comes,
Mhm.
and it gets hard at times. It really, really gets hard, and we look for the support, structure, a lot of things um, in our marriages that just aren't there. And it's neither person's fault at the end of the day. I use the same situation to describe my daughter at times, with her condition. I started a whole nonprofit to try and find a cure, because guess what? Even as a carpenter, as a man who builds and fixes things with his hands, I can't fix my own kid. I can't even fix my own kid, the same kid I brought into this world. You add that onto everything else going on inside my head,
Yeah.
it gets frustrating. And my wife used to blame herself too.
I've got a theory about that. God knew that she needed special parents. And that was you and Megan.
Well,
If
I
she
can
had
tell
been
you,
brought somewhere else, she may not have gotten the parents that she has now.
I can tell you one thing about my child, and she's broken records in the medical field as far as pain levels and what she's going through and the rarity of her disease and everything else. And she smiles every day. She lights the fucking room up when she comes in.
Yes, she does.
And as broken as I feel at times, I can look at my child and find strength.
Because that's what she's giving you.
Yeah, because I mean, I comprehend that she doesn't comprehend some things because of her condition, but I am so grateful because it's a curse and a blessing.
Mhm.
Because if I were able to comprehend everything she's going through, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now.
Right?
I couldn't go to bed knowing that I may wake up and not be able to walk. or I could go sit down and use the bathroom and not be able to get up. I couldn't do it. But yet my child can smile about it.
She's a fighter. She's determined. And she's strong.
And I want to say, that, regardless of all the military bull crap that's in my head, and all the stuff that, I've withheld to protect my wife in my eyes, that us going through everything we went through with Michaela, are still going through with Michaela, and then, everything we went through with Adley when we had to make that decision. And then again, when everything we went through with when Everly was born, with her born not breathing and my wife flatlining twice right there on the operating table. Out of everything we've been through, it's kept us together.
Mm-hmm.
And veteranship aside, that's a lot.
It is a lot. It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot, even if you weren't a veteran.
But I'm not saying all that for the pity party or the poor pity me or none of that stuff. I'm saying that I'm bringing that to this conversation as far as being a husband, and my spouse is right here with me.
Mm-hmm.
You're a spouse, a veteran spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just the aggravations of service that tear families apart. It's aggravations of childhood, their upbringing, disease conditions. There are so many different variables that can break two people apart. And I think that by, facing the masses and opening up, with what we're trying to do with you, with Kashi, with my wife, getting the wives together with Cindy and pushing the walk a mile in my shoes. I really think there's a lot of positive things that can spawn from this. I really do. And you haven't even met Cindy yet. She's the light behind all of that darkness. She really is. She is an angel. I'm hoping to get her on tomorrow night because I've got to set another specific day for the voices of the spouses. But that said, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate my wife being here because even before tonight, she's heard things that I've never said. And she said things that I've never heard her say. And that helps us as a couple, as husband and wife, and we can build upon that. And for any spouses that are watching right now, we've got a couple viewers on YouTube, we got a couple on Facebook. For any of the viewers that are watching on TikTok, if you're a military spouse, husband and wife, this is the place to come, especially if you have issues. And that's what we're trying to help with. We're trying to give the spouse of the veteran a voice because it's been shut out.
For years.
And at the same time, we're trying to open the door to, like we keep saying, you can't heal all of the brokenness in a veteran, but you can heal some. And just healing some, that helps.
Good communication. Just what you've all heard together tonight. I saw your eyes when she said she was proud of you. Because I don't think you felt that until tonight.
I will say this. Yes and no. She's told me numerous times she's proud of me.
Hmm.
Um, maybe not as often as I've wanted or needed. I should say needed. Um, she has commended a lot of the things I've done. Maybe not as much as I've wanted, but most definitely not as much as I've needed. And that's not taking nothing away from my wife,
Mhm.
because I honestly feel like even after tonight, even after reading all my paperwork from RHA and the clinical side of things, I still don't think she completely understands me or anybody for that
Yeah.
matter. It's not just her.
It's hard. It's hard to understand. It really is. It's hard to get into your guy's head, or for the male spouse to get it into the female vet's head. It's hard. But I don't think that you fully believed your wife until tonight that she was proud of you.
I can honestly say that you are pretty much correct. And the reason that you are correct is, you know, I've had people that have told me, "Oh, I'm so proud of you so much," and then they just
Hmm.
throw me to the fucking wolves and just talk whatever about me, and
Hmm.
I'm not saying that Megan would ever do such, you know,
No.
but it's instilled. I have a barrier up, and I know all about barriers. My wife's put barriers up with me before. I know exactly how that works, and it's taken time to try and get those barriers down, and this is kind of like the avenue I was wanting to take with this program. Is I'm I'm a spouse. I'm not the wife, but I think that husbands and wives can benefit
Hmm.
from this environment.
Hmm.
I mean, hell, she's just sitting in the next room on her
Right.
phone, but at the same time, we're here
Uh-huh.
and we're still. I've always said this, and everybody listening, please take note on this. I can't stand to hear a man say, "Well, you can't tell me that I'm a grown ass man." I can't stand it, and I'm gonna tell you why. On a logical note, if you say the word grown, that means you're done. Grown, finished. You finished growing, meaning you've grown as far as you're gonna go. So if you're only 26 years old and you're a grown ass man, that means that the rest of your life is irrelevant because you're not gonna grow anymore. If anybody ever asks me, I'm a growing man, and I'm gonna grow until the day I get planted to grow again. you know, and that said, from situations like we're putting together, these events like we're putting together, we can continue to grow. We can continue to heal, whether it's the relationship, whether it's the mindset of the veteran, the mindset of the spouse, the voice of the veteran, the voice of the spouse, whatever. We can fix these things over time, but it takes dedication, determination, and discipline. It takes trust too. It takes a little bit of courage. Well, maybe a lot.
Takes a lot of everything.
But that said, I don't know what's going to happen when I open this door and walk into my bedroom. She might be waiting there to give me a big ass hug. I don't know, but or just to tell me it's okay. Knowing my wife, one of the three things is going to happen. Either she's going to punch me in my throat and say something like, "I told you, tell me this a long time ago," or something. But either way, I think that this is beneficial, not just to helping the wives, but to helping the men as well to be better husbands.
I agree. I agree. And I just want to say to the wives, well, actually the spouses, not just wives anymore. Again, listen to your gut. Know your surroundings. My husband always told me, keep your head on a swivel. I pretty much did, and I do now. But you know what? Love your husbands while you have them. And it's hard. God, it's hard sometimes. Sometimes you just want to throttle them. You just want to beat them up. But you can't. You just have to, like, go into the next room or whatever. Just get away from them. But love them. Appreciate them. Let them know that they're loved and appreciated and that you're proud of them. I did that, but I still lost. I still lost. One night, January 28th, 2010, Tuesday night, 9:10 in the evening. Well, let me back up. Let me back up before that. The night was good. We just had pizza for dinner because neither one of us wanted to cook. Because I'd worked the night before, and he said, "You've worked the night before." He said, "I know you're tired. Let's just do pizza." I said, "Okay." So we ordered pizza, and we ate. We sat on the screened-in porch, and we talked. We laughed. Just kind of talked about our day and kind of talked about our life. But you know what? I didn't think anything about life because we did that from time to time. So after we did all of this, I said, "I'm going to go take my shower." And he said, "Okay. I'm going to go in the office and work." Okay, no big deal. But before that, he grabbed me and he said, "I just wanted to let you know something." I said, "What?" And he said, because he was always joking. I said, "What's that?" He said, "I love the hell out of you." I said, "Yeah, I know." I said, "I love the hell out of you too." And he goes, "No, I'm serious. I really, really do." I got my shower. He went to the office to work. I come out of the shower, tried to go in the office. The door was locked. The door had never been locked before. Never, ever, ever. So we have a Jack and Jill bathroom. But he had been drinking a little bit. But he wasn't drunk. But in his mind, where it was, he wasn't thinking about the Jack and Jill bathroom. I opened the Jack and Jill bathroom door. To see my husband shoot himself in the head and fell at my feet. And then I started CPR on him. I went to nurse mode. I started CPR. Got him back for just a little bit. And then I told him, I said, I do love you. And I said, don't you ever forget it. I called for an ambulance and the police. They worked on him for about half an hour. They got him back for just a little bit. They put a trach in him. The police wouldn't let me see him before he left. I had blood all over me. It was a mess. I really didn't get to tell him goodbye. He was clinically pronounced dead at the hospital within 5 to 10 minutes after he got there. I got interrogated for 2 hours by the police. It's not their fault. They were just doing their job. They wanted to know if I touched the weapon. I said, not tonight. But everyone had my fingerprints on them because we'd all used it. I told them, I said, you can get gun residue, I don't care. And they said, no, you're fine. I called his parents. I don't even remember calling them. Didn't call my son. And the crazy things that you do. I went to bed in those pajamas. I didn't sleep all night. And my mother-in-law was the one that said, honey, you need to change your clothes. I didn't even realize I had this all over me. So then they did an autopsy. So that delayed things a little bit. I called the funeral home, got that straightened out where I could go do the service. I don't know who called the military. I don't know. Somebody did, but it wasn't me. The day of the funeral, the viewing, I stood for 7.5 hours greeting people. That's how much he was loved. The funeral director got mad at me because he said we were going overtime. And then I shot back right at him because I was not in the mood to deal with him. I had paid for that party. $10,000 is what I paid for that party. So he wasn't going to tell me. So the next day was the funeral. I even drove myself really like 5 minutes away. My sister went with me. One of the girls that was in his unit was part of the honor guard. She came up and she hugged me and she goes, I don't know that I can do this. She said, I'm going to try. I said, you know what? You're going to do fine. and has tried to take care of her. I don't know that they did. I don't know. I remember the folding of the flag. I remember the 21 gun salute. That about threw me out of my chair. Because I wasn't, I mean, I expected it, but I didn't expect it at that time. Then when you get presented with that folded flag, the flag we all love so much, you're proud of it, but you're not proud of it, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's all I have left of him. And the memories. That's it. The flag, the memories, his patches, his name tag, his tags. That's all I've got left. I do have the casings. His unit made up a box for the casings for me. They didn't give it to me right away because they were afraid that they didn't know what that was. They didn't know what was going to happen. They gave it to me later. And not to get political, not one president said anything about his service, his 22 years of service. Not one president. But you know who did? Donald Trump. I have that certificate next to the flag. And I'm so damn proud of that. And then I have one thing that does happen. If your husband dies, you get thanked for your service too. You get a plaque. Didn't like it at first, but I do now. And then he gets one. But that's all I have left of my husband. Good memories, though. And then not so good memories. The spouses just listen to your gut. Anything that is different, just listen and look for it.
Are you okay? Are you sure?
Yes, I am.
I know that was not easy. And I'm just glad I didn't ask you to do that because I can see the pain in your eyes, but I can also see the love and affection for your husband as well.
I still have my wedding rings on. After all these years.
And I commend you for that.
Thank you.
I really do. And by all means, after this show, if you feel like anything negative, please reach out.
I will.
Because the last thing that we want to do is bring hurt. And I know it's, like I said, it's on both sides of the table with the husband, the veteran, and the wife, the spouse. These are not easy roads to travel.
Not.
And that's what we're here for. We need to be here for each other. And it's like I will relay a comment that just came across the screen on TikTok. Raven said, "You're an amazing woman."
Thank you.
And there have been numerous comments to the positive. And I'm pretty sure as we move forward, there'll be a lot more comments to the positive. And I just pray, I pray, if any God is out there that can hear me, that your burden that you carry becomes easier with each telling. Because not only are we telling about the loss, but we're talking about the gain. The gain of your strength to be able to relay the legend of your husband, the legend of a service member. That's what it's about.
I just wanted to thank you for sharing your story, his story with us.
You're welcome.
I know that's hard. There's nothing I can say to make that better, but I am sorry for your loss.
Thank you so much.
I'm not sure, and I'm sure you do deal with trauma from witnessing that. I agree with Stephen. You know, the more you tell your story, the lighter that load comes, and it also lets other spouses, male or female, know that they're not alone in that story if they've experienced it before as well. Not just a spouse, but you know, parents or siblings, or you know, it lets people know that they're not alone, because that's something that not many people want to talk about. You know, sadly, people die every day, you know, from sicknesses or, you know, natural causes or whatnot, but nobody wants to talk about that number. Nobody wants to talk about being found, or you know, finding them, or witnessing it, and nobody wants to talk about the trauma that those individuals face afterwards. And I appreciate you opening up and sharing that.
You're so welcome, Nick. It is hard. But if I can stop just one, I hope I do. I'd like to do more. But if I can only stop one, and I just hope I didn't trigger anybody.
Well, I will say this, and it's a part of the commendation that I'm giving you, and the admiration that I'm giving you for having the courage to step up to the plate. Not only have you opened the door for veterans to see the damage, the havoc, the pain, the suffering that this causes. You know, not taking nothing away from your husband's death or how it happened. Not taking nothing away from that. You know, some people say, and I'm just going to say it because I'm a realist, some people say that's the coward's way.
I've heard that. Yeah,
you know, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But that's also the desperate way too. The desperate way to end the pain, the desperate way to end the voices, the sounds, the agony of the experience. And at that point in time, the veteran doesn't really care who it hurts.
He wanted to stop.
Well,
Sorry, continue.
And because it's just like I said about my case the other night, you know, I couldn't reach out to Aaron. I couldn't reach out to Zero. I couldn't reach out to anybody because it was just all right there. I was blind to everything going on around me. And that's all I could think about until it finally died out, you know. And like I said, I many times I thought about, you know, the only way to end this is to punch my ticket. And that's why I stayed in the bathroom. That's why I squeezed myself in between the toilet and the wall and just stayed there.
Yep.
And that's all I could do. But what I'm trying to, the message I'm trying to relay is that if there's a veteran watching this that is in a state of crisis or has been in a state of crisis, don't just try to think about those around you, the cause and the effect, because every cause has an effect, period. And we're looking at the effect of that cause right now on the screen, the positive and the negative being the loss, but the positive that you can give life to somebody else. And that's what it's about. It's about, like I say, lifting up, turning the cheek,
Right. And you hear, or I've heard, you need to get over it.
No.
What did you do to cause this? Were you guys fighting? I've heard it all.
And you did not deserve to hear any word of that. Because at the end of the day, it's that person's choice.
It is.
It's their choice. And sometimes you can't turn people away from a choice. It doesn't matter what you do, what you say, how you feel. None of that matters at that particular time.
Do I love him any less? No.
We don't never, it's like Snafu just said on TikTok, and I will relay this comment, you never get over it. You just learn to live with it.
That's right.
And I agree 100%. But also in learning to live with it, you learn how to use it, not just to help you grow, but to help affect others in their growth.
That's why I'm on this mission with Kosh. And now with you.
Well, it's a good mission. And it's a mission that will, just from, we've been on 1 hour and 39 minutes. And it's the more people that watch this video, and hear your story, and the videos that we do in the future, as, we get more and more people involved, it's going to affect more and more people. And that's the whole goal, is to affect these people to the positive, not to the negative, because we don't want to focus on the loss. We want to focus on what can be gained from the loss. And that is to say that I would never, after hearing your story, put my wife through that intentionally. Never.
Good.
I would never do that. I would, and it might sound crazy, but I would think of what you said before I think of anything my wife said, because I couldn't imagine myself walking into that situation. And I couldn't imagine making my wife, the one who I've protected from everything that I've done, I've seen everything for so long, to do the same thing to her that I had already experienced. I just couldn't fathom it.
And my husband was such a protector of me. Anybody said a cross word to me or looked across the way, he was right on him. But then, and I don't blame him. I'm not mad at him. I don't blame him. I do suffer from PTSD.
I'm sure. And not just from that.
No, anxiety and depression.
It comes with your trade too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There are a lot of nurses, a lot of doctors, EMS, firemen did the same thing. Because, I remember most of the people that I've coded and they passed. I remember one veteran in particular. Can I share about him?
Sure.
His name was Tim. Very, very special to me. His wife was very special to me also. It still is. Tim had ALS. He was 26-year Navy vet. Before Tim got really bad, he wanted me to see some things that he had. I said, so he went, and he was able to walk. Not good, but he was able to walk then. And he went into one of the bedrooms and came back with a couple of things. One was a challenge coin. He was a commander for, I think, the American Legion. Or I can't remember I can't remember right now, but for one of them, he was the commander. I looked at this coin and I says, Tim, that's very special. I went to hand it back to him. He gave it back to me. He said, that's yours. I want you to have it. And I said, Tim, I don't deserve it. He said, I want you to have it. I said, well, what about your wife? He said, he looked at her and he said, do you mind? She goes, it's yours. Do what you want with it. So I took it. It's next to the folded flag that's in the case because that's very special. And then he said to me, when I go, I have a favor to ask. I said, Tim, I'll do anything for you. And he said, because he was on hospice at that time, he said, would you drape the American flag over my body? I said, yeah, I did. I said, yes. The night that he was passing, his wife called me. Thank God I only lived 10 minutes from them. I made it in 5. And he had just passed. I called the hospice nurse, and her and I together gave him a head-to-toe bath. Because you know what? We loved our veteran. We loved him. We got him put over on the gurney. Came the hard part for me. Had to drape over that American flag over his body. I didn't know that was going to be so hard. But God, it was. But I did it because I promised. These are the things that we do as a nurse. And many other things that we go through. So you're right.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
See, it's stories like that that tell the story of the American, the neighbor, the friend. This is what America needs to hear. These are the stories that create unity amongst people of different race, religion, creed, whatever. Yeah, because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Even as a firefighter, who's in the car that's in a car accident, or who's in the house that's on fire.
Right.
We're here to help.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to provide, and we're here to protect and then serve. And that goes across the trades, in the health and medical fields, the enforcing fields,
Mm-hmm.
All across, it just covers all of us. And, until people really hear these stories, they are blind to the fact of who really does care about them. And it goes right back to me saying, blood doesn't make people relate. And some people say loyalty does. Well, that's true. But one of the biggest things that make people relate is right in here.
That's right.
Love for human life. Love for human life. And that can include animals too, because of course we care about our animals. But
Yeah.
generally speaking,
I just lost mine last Thursday.
oh, that's why I said that.
Yeah.
But until the people hear these stories, like I said, they're blind. They don't know that there's people out there that it doesn't matter what you say to them, what you call them, anything. At the end of the day, they got your six.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, I don't know who called me the other day and told me to off myself. But that same person, if they called and asked for help, I'd help them.
Yep.
And these are the people you want in your corner. These are the people that you want to stand beside, on whatever objective you may have. These are the people that you want to be able to call on when you need help. And it doesn't matter what state you're in, what city you're in, hell, even what country you're in. It doesn't matter. What matters at the end of the day is that love for humanity conquers all. And I used to tell my wife all the time, it was my favorite Italian saying, is omnia vincit amore. And love conquers everything. It really does. And it doesn't just have to be like, I'm in love with you, love. It's just love in general. It's a beautiful thing you did tonight. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, but
Don't apologize, ever. Don't ever apologize. But I am going to get ready to close this episode down. Megan, do you have anything you want to add to what Marilyn has said? She's muted.
No, I already said what I needed to say.
Do you have anything you want to add, say to the people before we close this out?
I think I've said everything. Just love each other. Quit being negative. Focus on positive things. Just stop it. Stop all the call out stuff. Just stop it. Just be nice, be kind, be humble.
I'm going to close this out with a few things. Once again, my thanks and gratitude for you for coming on. I wasn't really expecting you to share your story, or that portion of your story tonight. But it humbles me in the fact that you trust me and my wife, because she's here too, enough that we've put down the proper security for yourself
Mhm.
to be able to open up that story and dig deep and relate it to others. And I know that was nothing of a small nature. That was a huge challenge, and you took it in stride. And I'm very, very proud of you for that. Um, I did drop some tears there for a little while because it touches me, because I may not have ever known him, but he is still one of me. You know, and at the end of the day, he is still one of us. He's an American, and he's a human.
Mhm.
And, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be about veteran suicide, veteran loss, because families lose every day.
Yeah.
And it's nothing to even do with veteranship or war or PTSD or anything. It's just things happen. And I believe that as protectors of this nation, nurses, moms on the far right there, you know, soldiers, police, fire, EMS, any protector of this nation, in order to reestablish the fact that we are here to serve the people, to help the people, this is the very definition of the whole mission. You know, it's the definition, and it's the eye-opening event to not look for the gratitude, but see the actions from that gratitude for other people to take up the flag and reach out as well. To talk out, speak out, scream out if you got to. You know, voices needed to be heard. Voices always need to be heard. Because sometimes there's always somebody way in the back with their hand up, and they get rejected, and they end up to being a statistic.
Yeah.
And it's our duty, it's our mission to eradicate that number, eradicate that situation for that individual, to make them part of the family of this nation that we call America. You know, it gets deep. It gets deep. And, you know, all politics aside, all governmental issues aside, at the end of the day, what's the American thing to do? Be an American. Love your neighbor as yourself. Treat others like you want to be treated. Be true to yourself. Find strength in others to accomplish odds that you may think you are not capable of, because there are those out there who will give you the strength. On both sides of the table, man and woman. Because I'll say it all the time, and you'll hear me in many, many talks talk about, just because the man has the muscles doesn't mean he has the courage. And bravery, a lot of people mistake the word bravery, especially when applied to fear. Oh, you know, oh, that was so brave of you. And it was brave. It was brave of you to come on here tonight and tell that story. But the true bravery is in the fact that you walk through the fear. And there was some fear there.
Mhm.
That you walked through that fear. You faced the fear and you overcame it. That's bravery. That's courage. You know,
I think I learned that from him.
there are lessons in life. You know, I've heard people say it all the time. Some people are a lesson. They're sitting here to teach a lesson.
Mhm.
If only people would pay attention. to the lesson that's trying to be told. And I think the biggest lesson here with your husband's story is that we can't give up.
We can't.
That's the biggest thing. There is no can't, there is no quit.
Mm-mm.
And that we have to open up. That's the lesson. We have to open up. We have, even if it's a piece at a time. Like I said, it gets easier over time, you know, and even though it's easier over time doesn't make it any easier on the person. But what does make it easier on the person is the fruits of the efforts. Seeing others come out of the woodwork and work to better themselves as spouses, as husbands, as Americans, as people in general. This is how it gets easier. Because the more people you affect, the more it's going to affect you.
Can I add one other thing?
Absolutely.
This is kind of a little plug, but it's very near and dear to my heart. Frank from Soldier Solutions contacted me after hearing my story. He said that he wanted to dedicate a shirt to my husband's honor with my husband's initials on the back. And he did so. And surprised me with it. Had me all blubbering in July at Kashi's event. But you know what? I love that man. I love him to pieces. Because of what he did. Not for me, not for my family, but to hold my husband's honor up. So the shirt is available on Soldier Solutions, American Companion with RJM on the back. And it's an honor to see those shirts being worn.
What was his rank?
He was a tech sergeant. He was a crew chief. Loaded bombs and missiles.
Did he have an E for the a E number on that? Or
Oh
no? Do you
gosh,
remember?
I can't remember. My brain is like yeah, it was E6 maybe. Maybe. I think it was an E6.
I've been thinking about it for a few days since I first met you and heard part of your story. And now that I have heard the story, I've been thinking about ways that I can help you along the way and help commemorate him as well. Like I said, because he is one of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to one of my battles today. I call him a battle. He's not even a veteran. But Jason Seidel, he's the CEO of Lex Act Army Burke County. He's also who I'm helping and in ties with the tiny home movement in Morganton. There's a chapel there that's going to be dedicated to a soldier in their memory. And it's a soldier of a Green Star family, which that is what you are. And with your permission, I would like to continue that conversation with him about making that the Milligan Chapel, the Milligan Military Chapel at our next tiny home community. I also want to name our initiative for the giving back at Thanksgiving. in his honor.
Thank you so much. I just don't have any words. Wish his parents were here to see this. Thank you so much, Stephen. And thank him for me.
We're here for you,
And I was here for you guys too.
and I'm a firm believer. Had I ever got to shake the hand of the man that is your husband, it will be a firm, solid grip, and he would look me in my eyes when he did it and smile and be grateful for just the friendship. And regardless of the situation of his passing, he's still a battle of mine
Thank you.
and always will be.
Thank you so much.
And I think the Milligans Military Chapel would be an awesome commendation, not just to you as his wife, but to him.
It would be. He grew up in the church.
We did it for one other veteran on TikTok and Clapper a while back. Another Army battle of mine, Lonnie, Papa Cajun, as people knew him. We dedicated the chapel at Valor Village in his name.
Thank you so much.
And honestly, we are working on each small cluster of homes will be a branch-led home, and there's a lot of those because it's 250 homes.
Wow.
But each cluster of homes will have, at the little driveway that goes into the cluster, like a cul-de-sac almost, a commemorate with fallen 22s and decorated individuals. And like I said, the biggest thing that hits me today was, and over the past few days with your story, was that not only did you not get the recognition as a spouse that you deserved, but people will look at the 22 a day as a poison. And they don't realize that it really is a poison in the mind. And it doesn't matter to some people, like whether you did 4 years or 20 years, it doesn't matter. Everything was for nothing. And that's not the way we want to remember our fallen. And any chance I get, I will make a way to commemorate these brothers, sisters, etc. And I will call Jason tomorrow and we'll kick it to the board.
Thank you so much.
But even if that doesn't happen, I can't make promises.
It's
Even
okay.
Even if that
It's the
doesn't,
thought that counts.
I don't want to get your hopes completely up, but
It's the thought that counts.
I will present that. But the Milligans Initiative will be our Thanksgiving mission this year, to feed the homeless Thanksgiving.
That's awesome. Yes. That's just an honor.
It's not much, but
It's a lot. It's helping people.
well, I still want him to protect and to serve, even though he's gone. And I know he does that for you. He's doing it right now.
Yes.
You know, even though he's not here.
Right.
And I tell my wife the same thing about her dad. You know, he's still serving. He's still here protecting
Mm-hmm.
you. You know, and we've got your 6. We've got your 9. We've got your 3. We've got your 12, 24/7. And that's for all the veteran spouses, both on TikTok and any other streams that are watching. Look at what we're doing here tonight. This is what you can be doing as well. All it takes is one step, and then you're walking, then you're running, then you're sprinting. Forward, never backwards. No rearview mirror. And always remember, people, tomorrow needs you.
Yep, they do.
Tomorrow needs you. Your husbands need you. Your wives need you. Your children need you. Your community needs you. Humanity needs you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your story doesn't end today.
Yeah, it does.
And your husband's story hasn't never ended because it's still being told.
Yeah. And I will continue to do that because I'm on a mission.
Well, that said, you guys, I'm going to close this out with this last little saying. Please, 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 if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and like, not just this video, but any video that comes forth from VTRN Radio Network with the Veteran Voices program or the Veteran Spouses program. These programs need to be pushed and pushed and pushed straight to the front line of everything. Straight to the front line. You can see what we're doing here tonight. You can see just from what I've been glancing at on TikTok, people we're affecting. You know, and it may be a small number, but that number will grow because people will talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
People will talk about it, and people will want to join, and we'll grow, and the family will get bigger and bigger, and we'll touch more and more lives.
It's true.
It's a beautiful thing. So if you have the opportunity, please jump over to YouTube, share that video out, share this one out. It'll post within the next 4 hours. Once I close this live out, it'll post. Go share it out. Share it to everybody you know. If you have to do an email chain, just shoot it out there. People need to hear this, just like people needed to hear Chris's story the other night. You know, share it out. Let's let people know what being American is all about. Let's let people know what being human is all about. That said, this is VTRN Radio Network, Veteran Voices, and we make them heard. We love all y'all, and we pray y'all have a good night, and we'll catch you on the next episode.